We are live. We are covering the news and answering your questions about the Middle East. I was asked today about how fast Muslims are supposed to be burying their bodies, and the general idea is within 24 hours, which is correct. But when you are a shaheed, a martyr, and the interesting thing is that the Iranians named their drone Shahid, also martyr. The suicide drones that they have created are like based on the name of the Islamic martyred person. And when you are martyred in Islam, the blood that comes out of you is part of what will, when you're resurrected on the day of judgment, that blood is supposed to smell like musk and amber and floral and it's supposed to smell nice. And you're resurrected with the blood that you were killed with, which is very interesting. And that does not even you're not even supposed to change the clothes of that martyr. You're not supposed to wash the body. You're just supposed to bury the body as is, without cover, sometimes without cover if possible, some white cloth cover that's very, very light. And they bury that body as is. um Interesting facts, the more you know, huh? We're at 99. If you're tuning in, and I have given you a premium membership on the house. For some reason, some of you have been losing that premium membership. I have nothing to do with that. I'm reaching out to Substack to figure out what's going on, because if I'm supposed to be able to give away premium membership on the house for people to have access to my content, then I should be able to do that. I'm wondering if it has to do with maybe unsubscribing or subscribing again, since it's like a free membership on the house. I'm not sure what's going on. So I'm gonna check in with the Substack. I'm gonna figure out what's going on. If you want a premium membership and you want me to give you one, send me a direct message or find one of my messages in the group chat. That's the latest one, not anyone, the latest one. That's asking people to mention if they would like to have a premium membership. The latest one is about Mother's Day. Just go to that one. I've had people that I've given the membership. Uh, like most people were just fine. I'm just having few cases where the people that I've given it to would lose that premium membership for some reason. I would like to investigate that further. If you can become a paid member and you can afford it, please consider getting a paid membership. If you have a premium membership and you want to buy a gift for someone or want to get another membership within the family, I think you're supposed to be able to get, at least in the program that I have designed for the memberships, you're supposed to get the second one 50% off. So maybe if you're getting one for your mother or your uh, family members or something, maybe you would be getting a better deal getting them another one with the family membership or so on and so forth. Again, if you want me to give that membership to your mother or to your family member as well, I'm happy to give it away. It's just when people want to support me financially or asking how to do so, I'm providing opportunity for you to be able to do so. It is how we pay the bills. It is how we do what we do full time. So you don't have to do full time. Pays for the treatments. It pays for going to Canada, and more. And we are working on getting you guys some merch. I'm working with Bonfire. I have been confirming some design ideas and will be coming, soon. I hope you guys would be interested in wearing the merch and letting the world know that we are here and they should join the revolution. And I'm gonna do my best to give you like a wide range of variety, good quality, uh, and find. Well, no, I have not found a good fez hat. The fez hat that are good are made handmade in the Middle East. It's too hard. Uh, ooh, I should tell them to add the fez hat and the mug. Good ideas. Thank you. It's getting a little warm. Let's see if you guys have any questions. You guys do have questions. Look at Al Jazeera. They say Trump was threatening to bomb Iran more than ever, less than unless they sign the deal. And you see, like this is exactly Iran, why Iran wouldn't respond to. Iranians are not gonna be like. I don't see the Iranians getting intimidated with these Trump threats. And the reason for that is that few things. Taco Nacho, where Trump continues to taco, and where there is a good chance of the Strait of Hormuz not opening again. Not a chance Hormuz open. So if there is not a chance for the Strait of Hormuz to open, and Trump continues to taco, and the United States wasted half of its precision missiles hitting targets in Iran. Let's get in the middle. United States keeps hitting targets in Iran. Well, those targets that they hit, and they have used half of their precision missiles, have not deterred the Iranian government or destroyed their capability from destroying their neighbors' infrastructure or attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz, to the point that even the United States warships are not hanging out in the Persian Gulf. They're hanging out in the Omani Gulf. And the Omani Gulf is a little bit like lower by Oman, below the United Arab Emirates. So that's a couple hundred miles away. It would take the U.S. ships maybe a few hours to get to anything within the Persian Gulf, at least a few hours. It's not ships don't even if you're on a speedboat, it takes you few hours to go from the Omani Gulf all the way to the Strait of all the way to past the Strait of Hormuz and to any of the ports and the Saudi ports up in the East Coast. Oh my God, I'm short on caffeine today. Did you see there was an article yesterday describing fires in the streets of Tehran and elsewhere with people protesting loss of electricity, electric, yeah. I internet. Yes, there's a huge. I've talked about the fact that there is huge uh, power outages and Iran, but the outages are not only in Iran. The outages are also in Lebanon. The outages are also happening in other countries don't have access to oil. Uh, and that includes first world countries like Korea, South Korea. The fact of the matter is that even if there was protests in Iran, the Iranian government is not afraid of taking to the street with fire, live bullets, and taking those um, protesters out. And the Iranian government understands the current economic pressure that they're in. But they're focused now on their military and national security apparatus rather than focusing on their economic stability. Because if the government falls, then there is no further economy. But if they can survive this war, then there could be a good future for their economy. It's basic game theory. No, I have not heard anything about have you heard anything about an F-35 going down in the air in the Persian Gulf or in the Gulf? I'm looking this up real quick if you give me a second. Someone is asking if we could get halfway normal relations, would Iran be more neutral ally to the United States than Saudi Arabia? We need to prove to the Iranians that they could trust us first. I don't think halfway is gonna be good enough for the Iranians. The Iranians are expecting to have either a full uh, in order for you to win the Iranians for a neutral relations, you have to go above and beyond, is what I'm trying to say. You've already been fucking up that relationship over and over and over for since the not 40 years, even 50, 60 years, 70 years, when we took out the first democratically elected leader in Iran just because we disagreed with some of his policies. But he was not a Shi'i, he was not an extremist, he was not, I mean, he was Shi'i, but he was not like a Shi'i clerk where he is asking for jihad and he wasn't doing any of that shit. But we just disagreed with what he had to say, and we wanted to have our own puppets, the United States puppet, which is the Shah of Iran at the time. We wanted him to uh, be the one in charge so we can control the situation and get oil deals however they want it. And that came after that with a lot of spending, like, and the spending from the Iranian government, the Iranian dictator, the Shah, the king, was not going toward the people. It was going toward luxurious purchases from the crown, uh, luxurious gifts to foreign leaders that are priceless. And they continued to do that while the people were getting hungry. And it was obvious. Yes, women had a lot of rights. They didn't need to wear hijab and on and on and on. But that was the case also before the Shah was reinstalled. That was how people in Iran existed for many years. They were, free society, not having to be concerned about this extreme conservatism. But the fact that we placed a US puppet in there made the far right extremists in Iran the ones are the that would be the ones in control of the situation. Steve, could you summarize your question for me? I'm sorry, this is you guys have any questions here? My shoulder's okay. I got medications for it today or last night. Is the Houthi movement growing? Was the Houthi movement growing? What is significant of significance between the Houthi and Somali alliance is that they're on both end of the Bab al Mandab, the Strait of the Mandab, and that it's actually like this. For you guys, rather, the camera's the other way around. Like it's like that, and it's half of the Bab al Mandab is half of the side of width of the Strait of Hormuz and much more shallow. And yet, what you also have is the internet cables that passes through there, and then it goes to the Persian Gulf and rest of Asia. So there's several things that they could do. Is they could also close the Strait of the Bab el Mandeb, and they could also cut the internet connection to the rest of the world. And both of those things are like very dangerous. I haven't seen any serious movements or activities, but Iran is waiting for them to be used as the trump card. Every time they are getting ready, the troops are like preparing, but we haven't seen much of the that action. Oh, no worries. Are the Iranian people similar to us in that they are split about their government? Each country is split about their government, even in Saudi Arabia, but it just that split is depending on how oppressive the regime is and how quiet that opposition is essentially about how oppressive the regime is. And then if you have some loud opposition like what we see sometime in Iran, Uh, we see like a very hard reaction from the Iranian government, taking a lot of lives, and that quiets it down for a little bit, but that does make people envy or hate their government in the long run, based on the basic principles from the book The Prince from Machiavelli. Anytime anytime you kill people, you kind of turn them against you, especially if you steal their land and kill them. Like the combination is like the worst thing that you could do. I don't know about anything about Iran stealing land though from their own people. The Saudi government has been stealing land from their own people. If and when the United States returns to complete competent leadership in the future, will global geopolitics rhetoric continue to be acted out on social media? Not that long ago, Obama had his BlackBerry taken away. Um, Regardless of what happens, the real question here for me is whether the United States could regain the world trust with one next presidency. And the simple answer to that is no. But regarding your question, I don't think that any competent leadership would run the country over social media. Obama was the first to use social media in his political campaigns to target younger audience, but he wasn't running the country using his phone. Man, Pete Hegseth keeps having different statements, and they're all based on the steroids that he's taken. Yes, I posted something about this. Someone was saying that Department of State, it's not the Department of State. Pete Hegseth himself made an ultimatum to the Iraqi leadership, the new president, I believe, that any interactions with Iran would lose all support from the United States, militarily, financially, and on and on and on. And that does not put the United States in a good position with Iraq, especially that the Iraqi population is a majority Shi'i, and they are directly linked with the Iranians to begin with. And the supreme leader of Iran is essentially the Pope of the Shi'i population. And the lack of understanding of what that actually means and that request from the Iraqi people is essentially asking them to uh, abolish their supreme leader or their religious authority figure. And for people who are very religious and take their religion on a very serious spectrum, uh, I don't think this is a serious request from the Iranian people. Um, No US F-35 has been confirmed shot down in the Persian Gulf. Currently, open source intelligence data and official military releases indicate that the narratives ta- stems from overlapping incidents involving Iranian state media claims and the loss of the other US aircrafts. Does that answer the question about the F-35? Has anyone thought about Trump's threat to take over control of Cuba? The threats to take over Cuba would be kind of really risky and would be putting the American national security absolutely at risk because we are already drawn out thin when it comes to our naval and military apparatus. We at the moment do not have enough missiles capability to protect some of our closest allies like Taiwan. We do not have what it takes at the moment to take out China if they are going to want to take over Taiwan. And if we ignore that completely and go and invade Cuba to take over, then we are absolutely in danger. And we are endangering all of our close allies in the South East China Sea. And that would also include our neighboring allies over there, like Japan and South Korea. This is not looking good. And if Trump is serious about invading the Iranian people, then the not the Iranian, but the Cuban people, then he needs to seriously be uh, done with the war in Iran. And I feel like that's kind of uh, something that hasn't happened yet, or far from happening. Middle Eastern people are laughing at Trump at the moment. They have, I mean, satire, comedy, political satire, comedy are taking the Trump administration as an absolute joke. They have their own teams that are constantly mocking the Trump administration's ability to not have any control over the Strait of Hormuz or not have any actual uh, accomplishments in this war. Middle East at the moment is either begging for more U.S. support, which is useless at this moment because the United States cost for that protection is astronomical. They're going to countries like Italy, they're going to countries like the UK, they're going to countries like Ukraine, they're going to countries, uh, even they're going to China, Pakistan, any other, instead of having a one protection system, now they have a multi protection system because the United States is no longer reliable. I mean, Trump has literally signed an executive order giving Qatar a higher protection status than NATO, and he still wasn't able to protect the Qataris from any Iranian attacks. Questions. Let me take a look here. Your weak link is your president. Your weak link is your president. If you have a second to click on those hearts at the bottom, please do so. Let the algorithm know that you're liking the content that you're seeing, and let others know that we are live and answering their questions about the Middle East mindset regarding the U.S. war in the Middle East. Um, Share it with the social media platforms. Let them know that we are here. Someone is asking if Trump invades Cuba, U.S. would need to support Cuba economically. Yes, I think if the United States would invade Cuba, Trump is thinking to do something like Puerto Rico, where he would annex Cuba, and that's I think what Trump would really like to do. He wants to expand the American empire in my image of what Trump is thinking. He's wanting to be Napoleon, and even though Napoleon had a bad ending, questions, my friend, questions, and for everyone. Saudi Arabia seems most allied with the U.S. How has relationship changed? I said this before. Saudi Arabia is like old money. When they close the door between the relationships between you and them, they don't shut it on your face. They close it very slowly without you noticing. It's about the small decisions that the Saudi government will be making within the next few years, one small decision at a time, that will continue to distance themselves from the United States. And you can start seeing these small decisions happening when they start writing military defense contracts with Ukraine and other European countries, and step away from a universal American protection standard. Now they are looking away from the United States. Even when it comes to investing, Kate Justice and I, when we had our live stream the uh, investigating the Epstein documents, we took a look at how Epstein was helping the kingdom back in the day to create a cryptocurrency that is based on a Sharia law, and that would allow the Saudi monarchy to uh, trade with China, not using the petrodollar. The world economy was already working on finding ways to step away from the American dollars. That's why they created something called the BRICS, that included Russia, China, many of the Gulf nations, Brazil, and some of the other big economies that have been suffering from American sanctions. And these countries are looking for ways to invest with each other and buy from each other and have economic trade, not using the American dollar. Why is that? Well, now if you are sanctioning any country, you are able to do that because you have the U.S. dollar, and it gives you more control about how you are sanctioning other people when they are using the dollar, and the dollar is the main currency being used. Now, once you start stepping away from that, the value of the dollar starts degrading. The central bank of the United States now has to find ways to buy back these dollars. And the only way they could do that is by borrowing money from you guys. And as people and a lot of our That is used to be owned and continues to be owned by foreign nations. What if these foreign nations all of a sudden stop wanting to buy U.S. bonds and stocks and bonds, and now you are stuck with so many dollar bills, and then you will have inflation, and that degrades the value of the dollar in the long run. So it's a very complicated issue. I don't think you guys are wanna have a global economy that would step away from the U.S. dollar. It would not. It would take away a lot of power from the United States. Um, yeah, well, that's how U.S. Borrows money from other countries by selling bonds. And when they do that, people use US dollars to give us these dollars back. And when they give us these dollars back, is how the central bank holds that money. So we would not have as much dollars flowing around in the market. The more dollar bills that you have flowing around the market, and it's not being used or borrowed by other people, the the more likely the inflation increases. What is the chance that Putin and Netanyahu got demented puppy to do this to fulfill Netanyahu's dream and to use up our ordinance so that Putin can read down the US, and she is, the meantime, is licking his lips, watching our resources get depleted so he can walk into Taiwan. Yes, that's part of the strategy. I mean, listen, Putin and Netanyahu are close allies, where Putin has assisted Netanyahu in stealing even Ukrainian grain boats that have grains and food in it. So several times, and Ukraine has threatened uh, Israel that they would sever ties with the Israeli government if they did that again. Um, President Xi, I don't know if you know this, but my university, Kansas State University, had a program for like that was open for public, but majority of the people that went to it were the professors and the uh, highest administrative, like the administrative office of the university would attend. And it was the diplomatic dinner. Every semester we would have two or three of them, where we welcome people from either allied nations to give us debriefs or former uh, advisors to presidents or such on and on and on. I was privileged, and I was in the circle, and I was usually welcome to go there. One time we had a national security advisor. I've taken a picture with him, put it on Instagram a while back. I need to go find it. I forgot his name. He was telling us, and he wasn't the only one that told us from that conference, that how the Russian strategy to fight the Americans was to bankrupt the Americans by having them overspend money on military technology. So you'll see, like, for example, they'll come out and they'll make a tank and they'll give it like astronomical statistical numbers. Oh, it can float in water, it can dive, it can fly, it can send you missiles 10 miles, 20 miles, 100 miles away. Don't worry, 1,000 miles away. This tank will do the impossible. it will go up, it will go down. The Americans all of a sudden go, "Oh my God, they have advanced. We need to spend trillions of dollars on this one tank so we can beat that one imaginative tank that the Russians are talking about." So we spend a lot of money. And I said this over and over again, and I did not come from like I did not come to this opinion because of like I'm just opinionated. No, I came from this opinion because I kept hearing experts talk about how China and Russia's strategy to destroy the U.S. Military apparatus is by bankrupting the U.S. economy. And every time I said that the Achilles heel of the U.S. government is the black hole and the Pentagon, this is not a joke. This is not a regular opinion. It's a fact. The United States government is running out of money, and the reason it's running out of money is because most of it is going to war or going to a black hole and the Pentagon into projects that are giving us amazing technology, but for astronomical prices. That if we spent it on our future generations, or if we spent it on our health system, or if we spent it on our infrastructure, we would have had at least a return of investment. When we invest money in the military, we're spending money that is going directly to be exploded. It's like buying fireworks. By the end of the day, you're spending money to throw away, and you're not getting that money back throughout any investment. The only people who are like, making a lot of money, and I was going through the stock market yesterday trying to figure out who's making money. People making money now are people who are running technology, people who are running the AI, and people who are running the oil, not the oil, sorry, the military apparatus production companies. And who's spending that money? It's your tax pay. It's my tax. And who's avoiding paying taxes? The companies that are producing those weapons. Each of them is having some sort of uh, stock buyback. Each of them is having offshore accounts. Each of them are, not giving the money to their workers. And by the end of the day, the stockholders are putting that money in offshore accounts and avoiding all taxes, or even better. I tell you what, the stockholders do not even put their money in foreign banks account. That's old days. What they do now is borrow money against their stock. And once you borrow money against your stock, that money that you borrow is untaxable. And what I do is I either wait to get a dividend pay from my investment. And that dividend pay, because I've investment so much and the investment return is so high, I can spend that dividend and pay off the debt that I have accumulated. And when I pay off the debt that I have accumulated, I've only improved my credit score. And as I improve my credit score and I'm a billionaire and I'm borrowing a lot of money against that these stocks, I pay zero taxes. There needs to be changes in our laws and constitutions that make sure that the rich pays their fair. And you know what? I'll give you something even better. Rich people that are owning part of these companies, the stocks that they own, they don't put it in their name. They put it in a holding company that owns the stocks of the company that they're invested in or the company that they own. And that holding company is owned by a trust fund. And that trust fund is owned by me. So if I fuck up, if I was drunk and driving and I kill someone, LLC is old game, Habibi. LLC is for small timers like you and me. Is LLC is back in the day. Now your LLC is owned by a holding company, and that holding company is owned by a trust fund, and that trust fund is owned by me. When I fuck up, I have I have two things. I have an insurance called an umbrella insurance that covers up anything I fuck up. So if I'm drunk and I'm driving and I kill someone, the umbrella insurance covers everything that I fucked up for. That's one. Two, that's if I made a personal mistake. Now, if my company made a mistake and I have hurt a lot of people, you sue the company. The company is worthless because it only has the list of people that works in there. Everything else is owned by the holding company. So when I sue them, a lot of times you'll find companies file for bankruptcy or file for other stuff, and they end up not paying any of the injured, or the insurance would step in and pay the injured. And I'm, as a billionaire, enjoying my time in Monaco or enjoying my time in Switzerland or Dubai, not worried about a penny. Could you do that? So, who's making money during this war? You? I don't think so. The question goes, do you think there are other American diplomats, former government officials, or corporate entities lobbying for us in Europe, preparing for change in American leadership, trying to develop trust again behind the scenes? I haven't seen any report that says that. I haven't seen any of that. It would be a wise decision. Democrats now need to be focused on the working class and the economy and national security and creating peace. If they want to end this if they want to win this war, they need to focus on two things. We are going to end this war, and we are going to improve the economy. We are here for the working class, and we are against this war. If none of these two are the main 2 points we are fighting for, then we have lost. And that's why even Bernie Sanders is very old. I think he's the perfect guy. He's the only person that has showed us over and 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 over again since the first day he ran for office to the day that he is right now, that he is fighting for the working class. Give me one more person that does that. I need one more name other than Bernie that has not stood up for the working class, or that has stood up for the working class other than Bernie Sanders. Tim Walz? No, not like Bernie. Tim Walz has a lot of rich donors. AOC worked for Bernie. She's young. Not like Bernie, though. She still have a long way to go to prove that she is a working class person only. If you want to get the Republican vote and the moderate vote, it is Bernie. If you want to get the votes that went to Donald Trump, it is Bernie. And it is Bernie Sanders. Man, Bernie is a national treasure. Bernie Sanders is a national treasure. He's the true national treasure. I have people coming to me, Wajeeh, you're a national treasure. No, 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 no. Look at who's been fighting his ass off for the working class, fighting against every war that come up. Bernie Sanders. Against lobbies, Bernie Sanders. For unions, Bernie Sanders. For healthcare, Bernie Sanders. Even he does not do insider trading. I have not heard anything about insider trading regarding Bernie Sanders. And the millions he has is from the books he wrote and from how long he's been in office. Compared to the rest of the people in the Congress, he's not that rich. I think he wears a suit almost every day. Maybe he wants. I don't know how many suits he has. That's the type of guy you want. We do, but also we do need young voices in the Senate and in the House. We have an aging representation. Also, I don't know if you know about the difference in political science, not politics, and political science, and science that studies that studies politics. Okay, there is something called a professional legislation and a non-professional legislation. Are you familiar with the difference? Away from the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House, look at your state level. This is something you can do something about. It's in your reach. You can demand a difference. Let me tell you about it. In the United States, the state Senate and the state House determines the session, the legislative session that they're in. What does that mean, Waji? Means if you have a professional legislative organization in your state, that legislative session works 12 months a year. They have recess every once in a while, but their offices, their legislative work does not end anytime during the year. What is an example of that? California, I believe New York, Texas. Other states, unfortunately, have something we call in political science unprofessional legislative sessions or legislators. Why you call them unprofessional? They wear a suit and tie. They're wearing, professional clothes. They have, they have professional sessions. Yeah, yeah, all of that is true. But how long is the session? 2, 3 months? For example, the session in the Kansas legislature is only 3 months long, and it would only have emergency extensions for important things. What does the legislator do the rest of the time? They have already gotten their $60,000, $70,000 payment for That's 3 months. The rest of the time, they have their own businesses. They have their own projects. They have their own, yeah, they have their own jobs that they operate outside of the session. So is this person giving you legislation every day of every year, every month? No. Do we consider that a professional work? No. You're not getting accurate representation. So what you can do is you can demand to have at least a professional legislation in your state. Check how long your legislature work for you and how much we pay them for the time that they work for us. Check if your state allows you to have petitions that you can add to the ballot. What is a petition that you file and put in the ballot? In some states, you are allowed to write a certain bill and you collect signatures. And if you collect enough signatures in that state, you can add that bill to the next election. So when constituents go and vote in their next local or national election, that bill would be in the ballot for them to vote for or against. That's how many Republicans have been able to make their state so-called the right to work state, where they have lobbied their ass off to bankrupt unions from representing you at your companies, or make it impossible for anyone to start a union working for any industry. So why not use the same tactics? But this time, to make the legislatures work more for you than they are supposed to, than they're not as they're supposed to. Someone is saying that's how the United States, got the Cold War to end by bankrupting the Soviets while they're spending all the money on the military. Yes, exactly. And they learned from that mistake very much. And you know who was part of the USSR? Putin. He was part of the KGB. I hope Bernie Sanders gets nominated. Someone says, I wonder if someone will nominate Bernie Sanders. What do you think? If the Democrats really want to have a good chance at winning this next election, yes. Let's see if you guys have any other questions. Any other questions, y'all? Yeehaw! I love going down the lake, grab a cold one, chew that tobacco, ride the old rusty crook, have a shotgun back that truck. That's my second goddamn right amendment. Yeehaw! How was that? Good, huh? You know what's more scary than global warming? Nuclear bombs. I'm a global warming guy. I don't deny global warming. But if you get nuclear bombs starting to drop, which I don't see it anytime soon, or you have any nuclear, or if we attack any nuclear facilities that end up leaking nuclear waste, that this is directly contributing to global warming. I don't know if you know this, but there are some people that live in high radiation zones for years and survived. Radiation is the silent killer, but also that doesn't mean humans cannot adapt and has not adapted, and animals have not adapted. But you can expect, changes to how we will look, or how we might, what kind of mutations it might make, because you have no idea. What will Saudi Arabia do when the climate change gets worse? They're still trying to figure that out. I think they are spending a lot of money trying to plant trees in the desert, and that is the wrong way of doing so. If we wanted to have our desert get repopulated, if we wanted our desert to grow trees, we need to repopulate the desert with like wild desert animals, and then slowly introduce animals that used to be in the Arabian Peninsula back. Animals alone consume water, find water, and um, when they go around, they help in their own way increase the growth of plants in the Arabian Peninsula. Uh, it has been shown to work in Africa. It has been shown to work in the Chinese wide desert. And the Chinese deserts is very interesting because it's so hot that the top of the desert became like rocks. It melted the sand to the point where it became rocks. And you needed animals with strong hoofs that like are running around, hitting that ground with thousands of PSIs on a regular basis to let the water, when it rains, saturate in the sand and go all the way down. And for the longest time, China had these horses uh, basically extinct. So at some point, they went around and they bought all the wild horses that were never tamed. These horses were never tamed. They're wild horses that are native to that area. And these horses essentially, um, people thought they wouldn't survive the desert heat or the desert cold because it gets really, really cold and really, really hot. And within few years, the population of a dozen or 2 dozen horses became into thousands of horses living in that desert, and their hoofs and strength and running around and eating some plants here and there and pooping here and there help increase the native plants that were there. So if Saudi Arabia wants to help with the global warming, they need to look at a plan like this, other than just spending money and throwing it away. Another question, guys. I'm gonna make this closer so I can read your question. The Camilla is asking, does Iran have trade agreements with its neighbors? Yes, they do have trade agreements with its neighbors, including the Gulf states. In fact, the Iranian nation is considered to be the breadbasket of the Middle East and Africa. And a lot of Gulf nations, even though they have tensions with Iran, find themselves obligated to have to buy Iranian fruits and vegetables because it's what's affordable and what's closest to them, and it's amazing quality. Uh, so the they do have trade agreements, including with the Gulf states. You cannot deny the quality of the Iranian rug made out of silk, though, handmade. Oof. Some of these rugs take years and years to make, and people ask why they're so expensive. I can tell you all about it. I'm a bougie boy. I grew up bougie, but then I became homeless and started over from scratch. So don't think I relied on my bougie family. No, 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 no. I started from scratch in the U.S. Is it true if Putin is hiding in a bunker? Why? Is Ukraine targeting him at the moment? Afraid of a coup? Maybe if the Russian economy now is for the first time benefiting a little bit, and they're having amazing oil sales. So maybe that he's worried about a coup, but like coup and Putin deals with anyone like that with execution. He's not like he doesn't have any mercy about stuff like that. And we know how merciless he is with any type of opposition, whether it's public or military. Military people get even treated way worse if they found out that you are trying to have a coup. Oh my God. The military, well, Malcolm talked about it a little bit. He's now almost without a military because he's wasted everything on Ukraine. And he's also getting a little bit of help from North Korea. I'm not saying it's impossible for there to be a military coup. I'm just saying that anyone that is thinking about that is definitely going to consider being executed if Putin found out, because it has to be very quick, very sudden, and it has to happen from the people closest to him have to allow it, because the people closest to you when it comes to security, if they are the ones that let that air in, that's when you can expect the coup to happen. Now, if there's an uprising, that's a different story. We can talk about that in a different setting. Someone is saying, I watched it, that's all. Questions. I wouldn't be surprised if the ceasefire was declared for the Putin parade. There is no official statement regarding that, or at least I haven't seen any of them. I'm not an expert when it comes to Ukrainian-Russian relations. If I'm going to be honest with you, I wouldn't be the one to answer that question as much as the Middle East, Western conflict. I could answer some questions about Russian Middle Eastern conflict, but not. I'm not that much of an expert with Russian Ukrainian conflict. I'm. I like to be honest. I like to be honest. Click that heart button for me. Let your friends know and the algorithm know that you're enjoying this. If you're watching this and you're not a subscriber, please consider becoming a subscriber. It doesn't cost anything. But if you can afford becoming a paid subscriber, I hope you can consider becoming a paid subscriber. It helps pays the bill for the electricity, medical treatments, moving to Canada, the whole story, on and on and on. Without your support, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be making it. And we wouldn't be doing the live one-on-one uh Q&A with you guys. I did do a paid membership only live stream yesterday, and there will be another paid live stream subscription coming on Friday. These live paid subscriptions or premium subscriptions, if you would like to call it that, is not posted on YouTube. It's only posted on here, and you can access it if you're a premium member. You could just go back to my posts section on my profile, and you'll find my paid Q&A or premium Q&A yesterday. Where is Chelsea lurking these days? I don't know. Maybe back in her farm. Does she have a farm? Yeah, Lev Parnas knows all about Russia and Ukraine. Maybe I should have a collaboration with Lev Parnas. If you guys want me to do a collaboration with Lev Parnas, send him a message. Tell him you should do a collaboration with Wajeeh. We could talk about the Trump quid pro quo style and how Ukraine might be benefiting from the new trade with the Saudi government. Uh, I've spoken with him on Twitter Spaces before. We've chatted on Twitter before, but we haven't talked about this. Let's see if you guys have any other questions, requests, concerns. We're at 406 people right now. That's awesome. I don't see any questions. Do you and Waji? I messaged Waj about doing the left hook talk. We'll see. I haven't heard from him. All right. Are you moving to Canada for real? I'm seriously considering moving to Canada. Yes. If no, I don't need to talk about that right now. Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you for tuning. Like, subscribe, and share. Invite your friends, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. And I love to say ma'assalama, bye bye, بالإنجليزي goodbye. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you're watching this on YouTube, no, you would be watching this on YouTube. It's not the paid subscription today. You are watching a recording. Please come to my Substack and subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. If you want to support the work that I do, you can consider becoming a paid subscriber or a VIP member. That helps me go a long way. I'll see you tomorrow. It's not ending. Come on. What's going on? Here you go. Okay, I'll just have to shut down the app. Sorry for this. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.